I wanted to update the video that I made about my deconstruction and my deconversion. I wanted to go ahead and not necessarily remake it, but add some updated thoughts. Because at that point, I think I started the video being like, I have a complicated relationship with Christianity or something along those lines, and I don't anymore. I don't really have a relationship with Christianity anymore. I don't consider myself a Christian in any sense of the word. I don't consider, any desire to go back into the church. I don't necessarily really have a desire to take part in any religion. Where am I at with spirituality? That's still being explored. I'm reading the book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, and there's definitely a spiritual element to it, kind of what he calls the collective consciousness. Kind of this, some people attribute that to God and some people think it's something else. But I find that interesting, the idea that maybe there's something out there, but it's not necessarily something that we're going to find in the form of a man-made religion or cult or anything like that. Maybe it's a little bit more nebulous than that. Do I still pray? On occasion. I do actually still pray, even though I consider myself kind of an agnostic atheist kind of person. It tends to be more in very extreme circumstances. As I've talked about in other videos, I'm very, very involved with what's going on in Ukraine. And some of my friends have had some pretty big scares. And I have found myself, getting on my knees and saying something like, whatever's out there, whatever kind of God or being or force or, whatever it is out there, protect these people, heal them, take care of them, end this war, and stuff like that. So definitely it tends to be sort of more in the most extreme of circumstances that I'll pray or want to pray. But that desire is still there in some ways. It still definitely exists. I've gotten a lot of comments saying that I was a fake Christian or whatever the case may be, that I just had the wrong theology, etc., etc. People trying to get me to come back into the faith. And I really don't have any desire to do that. So people can stop trying to get me back in the faith. That's cool. But I really had, pretty much a good smattering of all of the Protestant, versions of Christianity. And I've seen plenty of Catholic weddings, I've seen some Orthodox weddings, some Orthodox ceremonies, etc., etc. Really no desire to get into those either. There's nothing about those that really appeal to me. There really aren't any religions that draw me. If anything, my spirituality is embracing music or nature or beauty or whatever it might be. The other night, I was listening to the band Nightwish. They're a symphonic metal band from Europe. Really, really great. People either love them or hate them, but their music is really complex, really rich, really deep. And so, I was just taking some time and really soaking in just the beauty of some of their music, and just really, really enjoying that. I really, really enjoy nature and spending time in nature and the beach and just all of that kind of stuff. I really love that. And to me, that's very, very spiritual. Helping people to me is very, very spiritual. Being able to support people who need help, people in Ukraine, being able to donate or emotionally support them or whatever it might be, or, if there's other circumstances, people, closer to home for me. So there's a lot of things for me that feel spiritual that don't necessarily have anything to do with any particular deity, but probably would, be more moral than a lot of what's, put there in the Bible, where you've got all kinds of disturbing things taught. I've really been enjoying listening to Bart Ehrman's podcast. There was one recently about biblical slavery, what that looked like. There's some very disturbing laws in there, particularly about women slaves and what was allowed to do with them. I'm sure you can imagine where that goes, but very, very interesting podcast, very, very disturbing kinds of stuff. that, you know, my morality would never condone. So yeah, so I really don't have a desire to get back into an organized form of religion. Not even like the flying spaghetti monster or something silly like that. The ritual of, you know, meeting someplace, worshiping every day. I mean, worshiping every week. It doesn't grab me at all. You know, what am I doing with my life? Am I finding my purpose? I'm definitely still exploring like what my purpose is, where I'm gonna land, if I'm gonna land anywhere with some kind of faith. You know, am I just gonna be a stone cold atheist? There's nothing out there at all that cares about us, or am I gonna fall into a little bit more of a spiritual? There might be something out there, some kind of, you know, force or, you know, whatever, a consciousness out there that, you know, helps us in some way. You know, I don't know. I really don't know kind of where I'm going to wind up still. I'm still exploring, but I'm definitely moving further from Christianity. I would not say that I have a complicated relationship with Christianity. I would say more now that I'm healing from the damage done by time spent in Christianity, particularly fundamentalist Christianity. And that's not to say that all Christianity is necessarily bad. It might help some people. It might be an amazing comfort to some people. To me, it is not. To me, it was not a healthy part of my life. And so now, you know, I can look at it and go, okay, I learned a lot from this. Now let me figure out the direction I want to go. And so that's really, you know, where my story is at now. It's not, you know, a super fancy crazy update or anything, but I'm still living life, still, you know, processing through Christianity. You know, making videos on here certainly helps me kind of flesh out some ideas. But, you know, my journey I don't think is going to lead me back into any form of Christianity or being like, Jesus is the way, Jesus is the man. You know, I don't think that that's where it's going to go. And I know for those of you who are Christians who love to comment on my videos, that's going to disappoint you, but that's where I'm at. So, you know, if you enjoyed this video, consider liking, consider subscribing, and I will catch you in the next one.